Hey there YouTube! Today I want to share with you my experience with this vintage guitar. And by that I mean vintage, the brand. And this specific model is a Vintage V120, which I've got many years ago now for my birthday. Must be at least, well, maybe even 10 years by now ago that I've got this. And I really like the guitar. It's probably, well, it's definitely the oldest guitar that I still have, that I haven't sold on. And probably it's for sentimental reasons, but there's something to it as well. That doesn't mean that this is a perfect guitar though, because right out of the box it had some issues. The first thing and the most severe thing which made me change the tuning heads was that I kept breaking strings, and they always broke at the same spot at the post, which is strange because that never happens. So actually on closer inspection there was a sharp edge there, so I had to swap them out, and I swapped them out for some generic Boston tuners which worked fine for a couple of years, and then just last year I changed them to some more appropriate, you could say, Wilkinson tuners, because most of hardware on these guitars and on vintage branded guitars comes from Wilkinson. And then the other thing was the bridge, which I swapped out. So when you get a new one, it will have this specific bridge, this model, but just in chrome. I wanted a black one because at that time I swapped the tuners for black ones, and I thought I'd match them. Looked good, but now it's kind of pointless, but this one still works. So then I've had probably, well, 5 or 6 different sets of pots in here, because the original pots, well, they only worked on 10 or all the way down to switch it off, basically. Which I'm fine with, because these guitars are meant to, well, have one setting and just go. Although some people probably won't agree with me. But anyway, that gives me this guitar with one specific sound, so this will be fairly short to demonstrate for you. Last thing I want to say on the finish of this guitar, the neck is kind of peculiar in the sense that if you tune this guitar down a half step, then there's already a big difference in neck relief. So you have to adjust the thrust rod every time you put it in a different tuning. So I just tend to keep it in one tuning at a time. It wasn't half step down for a long time. Now it's back up in standard because I use it for something. So I adjusted it, let it sit there, and as long as it stays in the same tuning, the neck is fine, but they're not super stable, so that's good to know. On the plus side though, because there's a reason why I've still got this, is the frets. They're fantastic. They're probably the best fret job I've seen in this price range. At the time this was bought, it was below 300 euros, so very cheap. So, if you want a playing demo, let's start with the basic G test, because that's what you always do. Here it comes. And it's got a very nice long tail, so that's always good. And then if we go for a little bit more riffy stuff, which is also nice. And this is still cleanish on a model called a Fender Vibro-King, at least the amp sim of it. Let's go to a little bit more of a rock sound on a JCM 800 model, and then do some, well, Green Day stuff, because what does this guitar remind you of? was something totally different, but it works. So that's what this guitar does. Should you get this guitar? Hell yeah. I mean, how many Les Paul Juniors can you get in a color like this that, well, with just a few tweaks you can make all your own? If there's something up with it, it's fairly easy to replace a couple of tuners. And the basis of just having a solid slab of mahogany, I have no clue how many pieces, and I don't care. Mahogany neck and just the one good pickup, that's great. So if you want something simple like that, then definitely get one of these. I'm still enjoying mine. That's my story on this vintage guitar. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.